much for the introduction and also for the invitation. Kalimera, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I think the second panel is going to continue the discussion of the excellent discussion that we started before. And in that respect, I would like to share with you some complementary perspectives in the very issue of decarbonization in shipping. We already started with John and the previous panel about the regulatory development. I'm not going to provide more information and more commenting because Professor Saraftis will also discuss about that. Just to say that the trajectory seems to be clear from the regulatory side. So we have two strands. One is energy efficiency, how we can improve energy efficiency in terms of existing tonnage and new buildings. And the second, as we discussed before, is fuel. It's all about fuel, which is the fuel that we are going to be using over the next years or so. So I would like to pause a bit and give some a kind of different perspective here. This is the age profile of the global bulk carrier fleet. Due to my role as a director for the bulk carrier segment in Lloyd's register, but because bulk carriers is a massive part of the global fleet, 13,500 ships in the water, and of significant interest of the Greek shipping community, I would like to discuss about that. So this is the age profile for the different size bands of the global bulk carrier fleet. And if we look at the statistics, over one quarter, 26% of the fleet is above 15 years old. Over 55% of this fleet is over 10 years old. So it means that those 13,000 to 14,000 ships are really aging. So that's one thing. The other is that over 70% of the fleet, we are talking about being non-eco vessels. And therefore, those statistics means that something needs to be done when it comes to this fleet. Some actions need to be taken when it comes to this fleet in order to ensure competitiveness when it comes to complying with the regulations that are under development. And my good friend Stavros said before that the existing fleet and what we do with the existing fleet is very important. We all know about CII. We all know that the global bulk carrier fleet is going to find itself by a rate of 60% in D and E in 2026 if we do nothing for that. We know that CII is an operational measure by all means, but there are some older ships that are more in red. So again, a different perspective, an additional perspective when it comes to how we act, how we plan, what will be the strategies in order to ensure that we keep on the trajectory for meeting the decarbonization and energy transition targets in the next few years. So coming back to the two main strands that we are discussing here today, fuel first and energy efficiency second. This is the current order book, new building order book of bulk carriers, and 85% of the ships that are in new building stage are with standard fuel oil. So this gives us a good perspective about what pragmatism, what realism means in terms of being connected with the real market, with the real market demands, and how the shipping companies and the shipping industry is reacting and is positioning itself when it comes to the new regulations and the new demands in terms of decarbonization. And only 15% of the new building order book are with very few ships as dual fuel engines. Mostly when it comes to dual fuel, I'm talking about LNG, and very few with methanol dual fuel bulk carriers, and some projects that are ammonia ready and they have the provision, the contractual provision that if and when the ammonia engine will be available, will be directly ammonia dual fuel ships under delivery. And of course, again, I repeat myself, we need to be pragmatic. So the selection of the fuel for a new building needs to account for the ship type, the size of the ship, the trade that the ship is going to be engaged, and of course, tramping, which is the main way of trading for bulk carriers, is a very important part of the equation here. And the bunker infrastructure availability and the pricing of the fuels, the capex and topex of the different solutions, as well as the regulatory benefits or support that was discussed before. Last but not least, charter projects is something that is very, very important. It is a catalyst, and we will see that being also the case in the future in a more profound way. Yes, and before I proceed, biofuels, I could not overemphasize more the importance of biofuels in this journey. It's truly a very important stepping stone, and I'm sure that in the next panel, Bill will discuss a bit more about biofuels. So the second strand is energy efficiency. I have always been a big advocate for energy efficiency in general, but now it's becoming much more important. So we see, again, when it comes to the current new building order book, a gradual more and more adoption of energy efficiency measures and technologies. And we are talking about everything that is related with the reduction of drag, hull lines optimization, hull appendages, advanced coatings, you name it. And then it's machinery, waste heat recovery systems, shaft generators that was mentioned also before, and shore power. Higher capex technologies, I'm having two examples that play a very important role, or will play a very important role, at least in the bulk segment in the future afterwards, and smart ship applications. I'm not going to say more about smart ship applications. It's really important. I'm talking about performance and condition monitoring. It is a technology that we see more and more installed. It's no-brainer, and it has a contribution when it comes to the accurate characterization of fuel consumption and ways for improvement in reality on board. I mentioned before about higher capex technologies, more expensive technologies either to install at new building stage or for retrofit. This is one example that we see it currently be happening in very few projects, but they will have a role, at least in the dry bulk segment. It's wind assisting propulsion systems. And again, the yes or no to invest or no in a system like that, it depends on the ship type, the ship size, the trade of the vessel, if this can be predictable, the capex and topex, the actual gains according to the experience that will be built in terms of efficiency improvement, and of course, charter projects. Once again, charter projects. Very few for the time being, but there are. Adonis mentioned before about onboard CCS. I also believe that CCS on board will play some part in the future. We will not see it in all of the ships. We will see it in some applications, by all means, because that will be one of the possible solutions to extend the life of existing ships. In some cases, again, the technology is under testing. We need to account a lot of technical aspects and a lot of technical issues like the technology maturity, the CO2 capture rates, the impurities, possible contaminations, and so on and so forth. But most importantly, what needs to happen is that the entire value chain, the CO2 related to that technology value chain, needs to come into place. And I'm talking about the port reception facilities, the end users of the receiving CO2, pricing mechanism, and so on and so forth. So I would like to conclude the presentation here saying that, I'm going to repeat what a lot of people is saying, that there are no silver bullet solutions to manage effectively the decarbonization challenges. That's a reality. It's going to be a variety of options, and what we need to ensure is that safety and techno-economics work and are in place for the options and the optimal mix of options that a shipping company will adopt, a fleet will adopt, and each individual ship is going to have on board. Apostolos said before that we hear more and more that collaboration is the new fuel. That's a reality, and we need to stay in close contact, increasingly establishing collaborations and partnerships with charterers, with classifications, with wider stakeholders, in order to ensure that we get the maximum of information, knowledge, and we somehow advance ourselves when it comes to the possibility of having high-value projects for our company. Definitely there is a need for more innovation. I'm sure that Professor Psaratsis and other colleagues from the academia will come and will address more about that. And my final comment relates to the introductory presentation by Apostolos. Human factor. It's one of the most important and most crucial elements for the energy transition period that has started in shipping. We don't discuss more, and we don't discuss in reality and in practical terms about our people. And we are talking about seafarers, but also our people in the offices. So in the next few years, in the next decade, what we need to do is that as companies, as shipping companies, we need to have the agility to change, to amend the corporate structure we have in our shipping companies to account for increasing awareness, increasing training for our people to manage and handle fuels and technologies that are way different. Fuels that have very different characteristics, very different quality, different ways of bunkering, and then technologies that have completely different strategies in terms of maintenance and in terms of overall management. And with that, I would like to thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Nikos.